When I'm back again, I realized that before I do anything tomorrow, as far as spray painting is concerned, I can do a bit of preliminary assembly on some stuff. I had to cut the two front bumpers apart so I can get even coverage on all of them. Yeah. But the other part that I want to work on, because remember, you still want to be able to grip them, so that's why they have them like that. What I'm going to do is assemble the gear shift to this center console before I paint anything. It'll be a lot easier to get even coverage that way. And you can see the assembly step there. So, since they've already been painted, spray painted, well, no, they haven't, not yet. But I'm going to get them ready for spray painting. So I'm going to color blue in the highlighted section that says assembly. And you know what? Well, it's a very interesting question. It doesn't have the order of assembly yet, does it? No. I'm thinking, but if I put the seats in, it would interfere with being able to get all sides of the interior bucket. You're right. Don't assemble anything yet. Okay. So I will assemble parts 13 and 18 together, and I'll be right back. Actually, I'm thinking it won't be such a sacrifice to put the small part into the interior bucket after all, because I don't think it's big enough, and it would cover up those two peg holes. So actually, I'm going to assemble that in there as well. I don't think it will interfere too much. In fact, why don't we assemble the two seats in there also? Not the dashboard though. It's best kept this way. But I don't know. I think doing some preliminary assembly while it's just primered is actually, no, I don't know. It might not get the back seats properly. Okay, you're right. And I do need the thick glue to run along here so it can align with the two pegs from the wait, that's the extra thin glue anyway. You don't need that one. I use the more flexible brush with the thick glue so that you're more precise. Okay, so let's assemble this piece right in here with its two pegs. Like so. There you go. See? There you are. All right, so I'm going to take a picture of the assembled piece. Mark it as assembled on the guide. So that should not interfere. As you see, there's plenty of room here to get everything else. And look, just like Kit, a rough material for the seating. You see, except where the seat goes. But if you put the seats in place, it's going to interfere with getting the back seat painted properly. So there's only so far you can go along on there. But now that you've done that, you might as well cut. I don't know what part 14 was. It must have been something I had to remove. So why don't we cut here, cut here. There you go. So you still have 4 parts that can be used, gripped. You don't need the part 14 sprue free at all. That part has been removed. Okay, well that's good. Now, you're not going to try to paint the bucket tomorrow. And see, here's where the two pegs came through. So you want to make sure that you go at it from the bottom as well, just to secure their attachment in place. But don't worry, because of it's not going to press against the towel. And you can see, I don't know, the Ertl symbol, but you're not going to see that once it's put in the interior bucket. So there we go. Excellent. And you can see how mostly the primer did not get on this bottom side. That's good, because you want to wedge it into place. Now, I know the dashboard will go in here, but you still want to be able to get all the floorboards first. Okay, so this goes back where it came from. There you go. Leave that like that. All right, so we did some preliminary assembly. That's good, even though those parts weren't painted yet, because you realized it'd be easier. Now, speaking of that, no. If you put the steering wheel in place, you're going to block these gauges, because I want to do them in silver. Just the gauges. Gauges. Folk art, silver, sterling. Good. Okay, so that's detail painting. All right. Now, the rifles are going to be brown, so you don't have to do anything with that. I put all the videos onto the computer. I just kept today's videos on the phone, so... All right. Manifold exhaust, that's chrome, everything... Oh. There you go. So a manifold. Okay, so all these aluminum. Well, you already painted it aluminum. It's down there now. The rest of the engine parts. Now, distributor cab warm gray. That's why it was covered. All the assembled parts. Well, they're all black. Did all that. Did this. Chassis hasn't been blackened yet. Not yet. TS6. I couldn't find that part at all. Master cylinder, silver, so it's probably already covered. Okay, that's been painted. Well, you know, since we're here, we might as well go through the guide and identify which parts have been painted. I think the parts are dry enough by now I could do that, so I'll be right back. And I've got the silver Sharpie here. Now, I won't have to silver Sharpie these part colors, but I will certainly silver Sharpie the ones that were painted in black to make them easier to see. And that way I can match them up in the guide as to which parts have already been detail painted. Now we do know that there's a couple parts that have to be painted and primed on the other side, like this divider here. I hope I didn't just glue in the wrong thing. Because if that part that I just painted black is supposed to be the one that's attached to this, then where does this part go that's right here? Oh dear. Let's find that part. Part 13 and part 15. So I may have to detach that actually. Oh dear. Oh dear. That's not the right part. That was part 59, not part 13. So now we're going to have to detach it. Carefully. Take the gear shift out of it. There. Okay, good. So this part gets put away somewhere else. So parts, part 59. Part 59 is right here, but it's already been painted black. Okay, so I guess this not... Well, in that case, that's where the tape comes in again. I am going to cover that section with its holes, because you're not going to have to paint it anyway. There. That way you protect the holes. There you go. There's a way to make up for my mistake. Okay, good. Now, so part 59. Okay, so right here. All right. Okay, so I'm going to search for those parts. I'm going to search for part 15. But you've got to write on it what it is. So where's that black Sharpie now? There it is. It's going to be, it might be painted black, it might not. So I'm going to put the part number right there, since I already cut it off. Alright, there you go, labeled. So now you have to find out where that part goes. And don't lose this, the gear shift. In fact, keep it safe in one of the little bags. In this little bag here with other loose parts like the steering wheel and such. Okay, come on, open. Gear shift. dropped in. There you go. So it's in the loose parts bag. Perfect, 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 perfect. Okay. So now we look for part 15, I think it is. All right, let's see. So it's not in the dashboard area. It's not. Oh, no, that's part 121. Okay. So it's not anywhere near the hood or anything. Okay. It's not in here. No. It's not related to the McPherson strut, which I still haven't found, by the way. I'm sure I'll find it one day, because that's a vital part of the left wheel, which is probably right there. Or right wheel. It's not part of that engine. Part 15. Part 15. No, no, no. It's not part of the engine. Okay. 25. No, it's not part of that. All right, this is not good. This is not good at all, because that clearly looks like a gear shift with a e-brake in it. And yet it's not mentioned anywhere. I've checked every part, every assembly part. 48, 50, upper radiator hose number 45. The wheels, it's not part of the wheels. 124. Tail lights, no. Assembled wheels. Disc brake, no. Well, that's not funny. That's not funny at all. It fit right in as if it belongs, and yet there's no spot for it in the car. Like it. So I don't know what the difference is between 59 and 15. They are the same. They fit right into those pegs as if they're designed for it. 59. Wait a minute. 59 doesn't have 2 peg holes. So what if... Well, if 59... Well, I'm going to correct that. 59 or 15 has the peg holes. Because you don't want to pick a part that doesn't have any peg holes. And if you take a look... Okay, part 59, right? Take a look underneath there. You see a hole for the gear shift, but there's not a single peg hole in sight, and there are clearly, in the interior chassis, there were clearly 2 peg holes here, which would say this, but it's not like... Look, that won't fit on top of it. It won't fit underneath it. That doesn't make any sense either. So I guess it fits directly on that section without the peg holes in the way, but you don't know that it's long enough to do that. And yet, you see the aligned section where it's supposed to fit. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Because I don't even see, like, look where the gear shift is, look where that is. That doesn't fit. And yet there's going to be a gap. So that is either a missing part instruction or this is a substitute. But there's supposed to be a police console there, so I guess that's that one. Huh. Well, all right, we're going to experiment with assembling that part. Well, the good news is the parts are dry enough to touch, so that's good. All right, so we're going to disassemble part. All right, we're going to see what happens here. Maybe part 15 goes over part 59. We're going to find out, and I hope I have enough room on the camera. We can find out if it runs out of room. Okay, so this is how part 15 is supposed to fit. See? Like that. But there's that big gap. A gap which could only be filled by using one of the plugs here, because you can't do that. You could do this, but then that interferes, you see? See the interference? But there's a missing hole. A missing hole which is not accounted for. Because look, it says it's supposed to go into the bottom, the backwards facing plug. But if it does that, then it's not going to lean right up against the interior chassis like it's supposed to. Because it clearly has that angle to do just that. I wish they showed the chassis assembled into the car when it was right side up and fully assembled. That would really help. But they didn't do that. They showed it upside down. Well, because well, that's how it's supposed to go in. That's how it's supposed to go in. I don't know what goes here at all. I mean, you'd think there'd be an e-brake. There's not even an e-brake. That is, that makes absolutely no sense to me. And if you do it this way, that doesn't fit either. There's no peg hole for it. There's nothing. So there's like this missing empty hole. And if you check on all the chrome parts, because that's where everything hides, there's a mirror, there's engine pieces, but there's no e-brake anywhere in sight. So let's check that other little small thing. Okay, so all right, so there's the decals. Yes, the part that you don't know where it goes, the steering wheel, that little box thing, and the gear shift. So it appears that that fits on, but only one. It's like they completely forgot about the e-brake assembly, which makes no sense to me. Why would they just forget about it? So there's a missing hole that has no precise purpose whatsoever. And the only thing I can think of to do, if you look at this angle here, if you cut this part in half, then you have this right there, center console armrest. So I think that's what I'm going to have to do, is cut that part in half. No choice in this case. But I will mark it as 15, just in case. So in there it goes. There's the weapons that are going to be brown. There's this. There's the steering wheel that'll be black eventually. There's the gear shift that's going to be black, which is going to be assembled into the part. That way when you paint the interior bucket, the gear shift gets painted with it and it still points backwards. And it still fits in, as it should. Okay, and then part 15, again, the glue again. Part 15, using its one peg, having cut it correctly. There. Okay. So we're going to have to relabel it to part 15 back half only. All right, so there we go. That's how I had to do it. Don't know why they didn't account for it, but this Billy Club has to go into the small parts bag now. All the parts can be detached from their grippers and their tape. And where's the fourth gripper now? Come on. It's going to be around somewhere. I'm going to need it. Here it is. Okay, good. And the silver parts can be removed as well. Okay, so what we do now is we attach the parts that need attaching. So this is going to have to be like this. It's about the only way. However, might have to add... Oh, wait a minute. There you go. Ignore the part number. There. Good. There you go. This one, opposite side. There you go. This. Now remember, tape that over so that you don't have interference with the steering wheel knob. Gotta tape it a little bit. You don't want the steering wheel knob to be interfered with at all. There, see? Good. But it'll still get the color. That's what you want. And don't worry, I know everything's looking all disorganized right now, but give me a few moments to sort it out. There you go. There are the parts ready for tomorrow. Now I label the parts I painted already. All right, so we'll start with the aluminum parts, at least the ones that are not covered by black tape. So we have the 2 halves of part 35. So there you go. I color the entire picture in this case to show that they have been assembled. So that takes care of that. So I don't know. Why don't we give it a... No, the pink highlighting didn't do anything. Okay, part 43. Well, the oil pan is part 36, so we can color that. There you go. All right. Part 43 should be in step number 2. 42 and 43, well, they're both mentioned. So there's 43. There's 42. Okay, so there we go. And I painted them the right way so that they're non-painted surfaces can attach to each other. Good. Okay. So that's part for that bag right there. More or less. Okay, so now we go on to the black parts, which haven't all been silver sharpied. All right, now they've been silver sharpied, but they have to be marked on the guide. So part 51, radiator. Ah, there you go. Found it. Okay. There you go. All right, now, tiny little hoses. Oh wait, has that part been taped over? Yes, it has, so you can't say that part 48 has actually been painted after all. All right, what's next? No, the bells and pulleys have not been done, but part 44 has been done. Part 41, it's not mentioned there. Not yet. Part 61 has been, but that's not 61. That's 61 is there. There it is. Okay, good. So there you are. Part 60 is the radio. Of course, you need to do the silver dials, of course, in the front. Okay, so there you go. Part 40, air filter. Well, that says part 41. It's pretty... Oh, starter black. There you go. Part 40, air filter. Not there yet. I'll come back when everything's labeled. Already at 24 minutes. I found the McPherson struts. They were in the unprimed bag. So, those parts have been primed. Those are the rifles and stuff. Steering wheel you could stick on a toothpick. This is an unused part, but this has to be primed. although you want to cover up that so that there's nothing interfering. And of course these have to be primed, that side. Okay, and I think you've identified most of the other parts, so that's good, that's good. I think you've got it. And there's some parts that have to be attached on the back, so you don't want to do any priming on that either. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so now it's time to gotta find a way to clamp these two so that they get priming eventually. So let's just set all the... Okay, so all the parts that are already painted that don't need it go into this bag. I mean, already primed at least. You can paint them later as the need arises. They'll be included as part of the car. These need to be primed. So there they are. And I think you've done as much as you can do for the highlighting. So I'll put everything in the bags, separate, and cut them off now, and we'll go from there. All right, so now that the guide's been taken care of, it's time to carefully cut the parts off. Now, of course, that'll be detail painted. What you want to do is you want to get the parts so they can fit into this big bag without a bunch of sprue tree stuff in the way. Kind of like that. All right. And then these, well, that's a part that's going to need to be painted, so it has to be separated from the rest of them. Like that. So this is going to have to be, it wasn't even, probably even primered, so it has to sit there until you determine what color it needs to be. These parts get separated like that. And like that. There you go. And there. And there. So all the sprue tree parts go away. We're going to see how much more room I have. It looks like I have 11 minutes worth left of room. So there's the billy club, so that leave that alone. Shorten this a bit, like that. There you go. And then shorten this just the tiniest bit there. And there, because they've already been painted. So there you go. So those are all the parts that need to be, well, you can detail paint them or you can start assembly. So I'll just start putting them into their bag now, and we'll come back when that's complete. One thing I almost forgot. You have to separate out the one piece that didn't even get primered because it's supposed to be a different color. That's very, very important. So that way you can peel the tape off the part, the two parts right there. That's part 62 to determine what you need to do with them. And I'm not quite sure yet, but I do know you take off the little chunk. So there's part 62. So something needs to be done with that, detail painted.